Welcome to the Aim High broadcast. I am your friendly host, Miss Tammy Walker Jenkins. So come on in. I have another hot topic. I have something so good that is going to help you because it helped me today. And I am so glad that you are tuning in again today. I hope that this broadcast is blessing you, encouraging you, and having you to think and wanting to do better with your life and just prosperous, right? It's all about us growing in grace and in his knowledge. Amen. And so you make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you give me your comment. I want to communicate with you. I want to be able to get your thoughts and I want to hear your feelings. I want to hear what you have to say to me or even what's going on in your life. And even if there's a certain topic or something that you want me to discuss, then guess what? Go ahead and put it in that comment so I can begin to study and make sure that I come and provide you some good content. Okay. So I am so excited. We're going to go ahead and jump into it. So if you see the title, it says Making Wise Choices. And so you would ask yourself, why did you think of this topic? It's because you know what? Sometimes in life we do not make wise choices, and this is what we need to do. We need to start making wise choices. There's a lot of things that I want to do, I'm thinking about. And so I am praying and seeking and asking God for his wisdom, asking for his guidance, because my choice can either take me forward or it can take me backwards. I have been in a situation that I done made some bad choices, and I am just trying not to make any more bad choices. Not saying that I won't, but guess what? I am trying to limit my bad choices because normally when you make a bad choice, who prosper from it? No one profit from it. If anything, it end up causing us unwanted stress and troubles and struggles. And so we just want to do in this year, we just want to keep going forward, right? So we're going to talk about making wise choices. So if you are finding yourself in situations that you need to make wise choices, then I hope that through this broadcast, I can inspire you to just take time. And sometimes when you cannot make a decision, you just wait. You pause and you wait until you get that check in your spirit or everything is lining up and you saying, hey, now it's time for me to make the choice. And the choice should be a something that's going to take you forward, not backwards. Okay. So anyway, so it came to me because we are faced every day in making choices, right? Now, when we make those choices, the choice is either going to benefit us or it's not. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that it benefit us in the long run, right? We want it to benefit us. We want it to benefit our family. And so that's why even in my situations for this whole week, I decided that I did not want to do a whole lot of extra talking to people. It's because I just needed to, and I'm going to show you, is that in order for me to make a good wise decision is that I needed to read my word. I needed to get into my word. I need to make sure that I can hear from God. I want to make sure that I can hear from him in my heart, and I want to make sure that in my spirit. So my goal is because I need to make some major decisions. I'm about to make a big step. Is therefore I got to seek counsel, and it has to be wise. And I don't want to hear all of the noise, outside noise. So guess what? I have to get into my private place. I have to get into my sanctuary, and I have to be able to read and hear and make sure that I am going in the right direction. So this is something that we all face. And even if you are in the situation that, guess what, you have to make a major decision, let me know what are your plans? What's your method? What are you going to do? How are you going to make wise decisions? Or you even come in and say, I'm tired of making bad decisions. So now I've been encouraged, I've been motivated to make good decisions, okay? And another thing is sometimes that we make so many poor decision, it affects our lives, right? It can affect your emotions because when you know that you should have went A or selected A and you selected B, or you know that you should have went right but you went left, it affects us. It affects your life. And that's what we don't want to do is we don't want to be our worst enemy, right? So that's what we're going to do is we're going to learn tonight going forward that sometimes we're just going to pause, we're going to wait because we want to make those good decisions in life and we want it to be in our best interest. Making good decision, wise decision is going to be in your best interest. Okay. Now, the other thing is I have like good decisions or making good choices will keep you going in the right direction. It's going to keep you going forward in the right direction, right? And then when you're making good decision, guess what? You have the smile on your face, and then it comes with a sense of peace and serenity, right? It's when you're making those good decisions. Now, on the flip side of it is that when we make those bad decisions, guess what? We have all kind of counterproductivity that happens to us. Quickly, we realize we start saying, ouch, ouch, I made the wrong decision. I should not have did this. It's bringing me unhappiness. It bringing me some sleepless nights. It's bringing me some heartaches. Then all of a sudden we realize that we have unwanted problems because we made bad decisions. And that's what we want to do. We don't want to keep calling all of those unwanted problems in our lives. It's different is when we let other people bring us problems, but when we create our own problems, it goes to the whole nother different level because 9 out of 10, we say, I know better. I can do better. Why did I do that? And there are reasons why that we make poor decision because one of them we move too fast and we too hasty, right? Because we get caught up in our emotions that we want things right now. And sometimes I believe God tells us that we just need to slow down. The world is going so fast. Everybody going so fast. You can get up every morning. You see everybody driving fast. Everybody trying to get to somewhere fast. But sometimes God decides to slow down. You know, it's just like that story when we grew up about the turtle in a race. The turtle was just barely going. But at the end, the turtle got to the end quicker. So sometimes we just need to just slow down and we just need to make sure that we're going in the right direction and make sure that we're hearing and we'll listen to the Lord. Now, that wasn't even in my notes. That was just something that the Lord just dropped in me. And whoever it's for, and then it can be for me as well, is that we just going to slow down and take our time. Steady wins the race. Steady is going to get you to making those good decisions. Amen. Now, also, I want to remind you that I even read Moses 3 and 17, and this is when God was talking to the prophet, and he told the prophet, he said that we are free to choose between good and evil. So that's one thing is that God is going to always put us in a position or have us in a position that we can choose good or bad, and he leaves the choice up to us. So that's why we need to make sure before we just jump and quickly and start making a decision that it's going to be either good or evil, right? Those are the only choice. There's no in between. So that's what we want to do is start making those good choices so it can be good. Now, I also say, how do we make good choice or how can we eliminate from making bad choice? But the first thing we need to understand when it comes to choice, what is the motivation? What is behind the choice that you made? And it could be only two things. Either it's going to be your flesh or it's going to be your spirit. It's going to be one or the other. You're going to make some choices in life that either if it's in your flesh, that is going to be the wrong decision. And that's when you get those unwanted problems. That's when you get that frustration, you get the struggles, you get the unhappiness, you get the depression. It's because you're operating in your flesh. Because guess what? Flesh always want it right now. I want it right now. I want to do it my way. I deserve it. But guess what? It's going to end up being a poor decision, a bad decision, because you're making it out of your flesh. But on the other side is if you seek God, you read, you pray, you be steady, you wait, and it's in your spirit. And when you get confirmation from God, you hear from God, the word is in your heart, you feel secure, you feel fine. Then when you operate in the spirit, then you're going to make those good choices. The wise choice is going to take you up and it's going to take you forward. And the end of, you're going to reap the reward. You're going to reap the joy. I mean, you're going to reap everything that you're trying to do. It's going to be complete. But when we in our flesh, it's going to be incomplete and it's not going to help you. Only thing it's going to do when you make unwise decisions and poor choices, what it does, it sets us back. It sets us back. And what we want to do is we are trying to go forward and we want to be better in our decision. Okay. Now, also, I want to read you this Romans 8:5, and it said, those who live according to the flesh, remember, we're talking about the flesh and the spirit, but those that live according to the flesh have their mind set on what they flesh desire. But those who live according to the spirit have their mind set on the spiritual desire. So normally when we making those choices in life, good or bad, wise or poor, it's going to be based upon your flesh or on your spirit and the condition of your mind, right? Because if your mind is on the flesh of I deserve this, I want this, I need this, then you're going to be making those bad decisions. Okay. But if you keep your mind heavily on the spirit, then guess what? You're going to make those better choices for you. Okay. So we have to understand that choices that we make in our flesh will not end up good. But choices that we make in the spirit, is that's when we're going to reap. Okay, we're going to see the benefit. We're going to have all the peace and the joy. And guess what? We're going to realize that everything turns out with check, check, check. And it is beautiful. Okay. So what happened is that we want to make sure that we slow down and make sure that we think clearly before we make those decisions in lives. Okay. Now, also in making wise choices is we cannot get fooled by the flashing lights, how things look and how things sound. And this is something that blesses me, that bless me, is because it's just that we're here on earth. And like I said, everything is going fast. People moving fast. Everybody wants this instant gratification, right? Nobody want to wait on the full blessings of what God has for them, right? And so what happened is that sometimes we can get distracted in our flesh, in our mind, because guess what? The flashing lights, or we get our flesh desire is I want it now, I deserve it now, I've been waiting too long, God is not hearing me, so I'm going to do it within myself. And then that's when we begin to make those poor decisions, or we just get so emotionalized, right? And then that's when we start making those bad decisions. And so that's why, just because sometimes things can be with the glitz and the glam, things can be beautiful, things seem though it right, it's counterfeit, it looks good to the natural eye. But we have to pull back the layer sometimes. We have to pull back the layer sometimes and realize just because it got all the glitz and the glams and the shining lights, the pretty color, it feel good to me, but we have to be spiritual enough to say, I can discern and I can sense that this is not for me. So this is what we want to make sure is not get distracted by those fleshly lights or those things that appeals to us in the natural. And a reason I said that is because in Matthew 7:13, it says, enter in the straight gate. For wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many would choose this. Once again, it says, straight is the gate, wide is the gate, and many people would choose what is the broad way, thinking that's the better way. And it's not necessarily the better way. It's just that straight way. It's that being single focused, single minded, trusting God, listening to his spirit, hearing him, following your heart the straight way is where your blessings that you can make those good choices. So we don't want to get distracted on things that are big and glamour, right? And it said, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way. Not too many people going to want to go through that straight and narrow way, which means they might have to wait on making the right choices in life that leads to life. So when we follow God principle, it said it will lead us to life. But not too many people are going to find their way. Not too many people are going to want to walk their way. So I just want to encourage you, because we want to make those good decisions that give us life, and those things that are going to bring the abundance to us, right? So we want the abundance of God, but we're going to have to make sure that whatever it is that we are making those good and wise decisions. I can say it 1,000 times. We need to make good, wise decisions. So I want to encourage you is make sure that you make the right wise decision. Okay. Now also Deuteronomy 30 and 19 says this. This is a day that I call heaven and earth as a witness against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life so that you and your children may live. So I ponder on this scripture, Deuteronomy 30:19. It said, this is the day that the Lord called heaven and earth as a witness, which means they come together, right? And that he set before us life and death. Some decisions that we can make can be life or death to us. This is why it's so important that we make the right decision. Because remember, he give us a choice to choose between good and bad. Now the word is said he given us choice to choose between life and death. And of course, everybody want to choose life. Okay. And he said, then also blessing or curses. So that's another thing. Either you can choose your blessings, or you can keep making poor decision, unwise decision, and it's going to bring those curses. Okay. And you know, when I say the curse can be the stress, the confusion, unwanted problems, setbacks in life. So we don't want to invite the curses to come into our life, because we want to choose life so that you and your children may live. And I thought about that. God, what do you mean about that you and your children may live? And then I start thinking about some choices and decisions we make, especially if you're a mother or you're a father, or you a grandmother, you raising your grandkids, or you adopt a kid. Some decision that you make and you have your children right under your wings. Your children is watching you make certain decisions, and they are beginning to form how they are going to make decision by what you are doing, right? So if your children or anyone under you see you making good decisions, and then you reaping the benefits and the blessings in a life, then as they grow up, they're going to learn, and then they're going to end up patterning themselves after you. Okay, then they begin to make good choices, which means they begin to live. But if you have people in your household or people under you and seeing you constantly making bad decisions and setbacks and have these struggles and unhappy, then what happened is it is affect the children. So it's going to affect the children or your kids, positive or negative. And when I thought about that, I was like, God, I remember there's a lot of things when I was a single young lady and I was making some bad choices. And then I was like, today I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad that I was able to get myself together. So as my children, as my daughters grew up, as my son grew up, they would not make bad choices. And then the choices that I made, that it would not hinder them from living, right? It wouldn't cause any problems in their life. So it's so important that the choices that we make is that we also have to consider that if we have children, that it will affect them, positive or negative. Okay. Now, also is that I also put, because children always is in observation. They're always watching. When we don't think that they're watching, they're listening, right? And so that's why it's so important. And then as parents, is that we want to teach our children, and we want to teach those that are connected to us, is that we want to teach them how to make good decisions. Right? We want to teach them that if they know that they are going to school and they have a certain student that's always been disrespectful to the teacher or being mean, always want to fight, want to be a bully, then we want to teach them to make good decisions, that that's not the type of friend that you need, right? You know, you can say hey and bye, but you don't want to befriend that person, because guess what? That's not a good choice, because what's going to happen, you might start acting up and being like them, right? Your child being wrong, somebody that's being disrespectful to elderly people, or being disrespectful to teachers or whoever, the bus driver. If you don't teach them how to make wise decisions, then they're going to grow up with this bad behavior. So we want to teach them, just not in conduct, but also in life, that we want to be example to them of making good decisions, right? And because we want to live and we want them to live. Okay. Now, let's talk about this. We're talking about good and bad choices. So let's think about what have been some bad choices. So I sit here and I thought, what are some bad choices that I made? What are some bad choices that people make? And so while I was doing this, I was at work and I began to ask two of my coworkers is, um, when it come down to making bad choices in life, making poor decision, what would you say would be the top three things that you did that you saw that it affect your life? Remember, I say poor decisions set you back, bring you the stress, unwanted problem, anxiety, and we came up with five. Okay, one is we make poor choices when it come down to our finances. We overspend. We don't properly manage our money. So we talked about finances. We also talk about jobs. I said job. They said, yeah, because guess what? Sometimes we take a job because of what it's paying or because the name of the company, and realize that it wasn't the fit, or we got a high paying job, but the stress that comes with it's not worth it. So jobs can be poor decisions. Marriages. Sometimes people get married to the wrong person. They marry a person because of how good looking he is, or how pretty she is, or what type of job she has, for different reasons, and realize that they made a poor mistake, an unwise decision, because they married someone that was abusive, they was unfaithful, they didn't respect you as a husband, didn't respect you as a wife, always arguing and fussing, not being a responsible spouse. So we made those mistakes in marriages. We make mistake in friendship. We make a mistake, make poor decision on people that we think they're our friend, or we stay in friends with people that we know that we should not be friends with. And these are some poor decisions. Those are those things that we see. So sometimes things can catch you by blinded eye, but we make poor decision on who we choose to be friend and hang around. And then also we make poor decision when it come down to our health. We eat any kind of way. We're not exercising. We're not even thinking about vitamins or any form of exercise. And so we make poor decisions when it comes to our health. And also, when we talk about marriage, people, we also have to think about our single. Sometimes we make poor decision on who we're going to date and how we're going to date, and dating and never get into a commitment. So these are the different things that Just we all do. We have made in the past, and people are still making these mistakes in the present. But what we want to do is we want to eliminate constantly making these poor choices and decisions when it comes down to our finances, come to our marriages, come down to dating, health, job, friendship. Okay. So we all can do better in that area. Now it says, yes, of course, we all make bad mistakes. So when you make a bad mistake, let's think about what do you do about it? How can you fix it or reverse the bad mistakes? So one of the things, I'm gonna give you 5 pointers. One of the things is when you make a bad mistake, and what you need to do about it is, first of all, you just need to forgive yourself, give yourself some grace. It's because we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. The thing is not to constantly keep making the same mistake over and over. So when we constantly keep making the same mistake over and over, because we haven't learned from it. And we might continue and keep going through dating the wrong person, marrying the wrong person, having poor finance until we get it right, until we start making better choices. But even when you make a bad mistake, is don't be so hard on yourself that you become your worst enemy, your worst critic. Is say, okay, I recognize I made a bad mistake. I forgive myself, reevaluate it, and then give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace because God give us grace, okay? Number 2 is determine how you can move forward and what action that you're going to take. How to move forward and what action that you need to take, which means I'm not going to do this anymore. And this is the action that I'm going to set in place for me not to do it again and go backwards, right? Because we're trying to go forward and we're trying to go up. Number 3 is to evaluate what happened. What happened? What caused me to get off? What caused me to make that poor decision? Was it my flesh or was it my spirit? What was my state of mind at the time? Who was I talking to? Who was I listening to? What Let me reevaluate that. Okay, so when you going through that forgiving stage and you want to give yourself some grace, then you just want to reevaluate and like, why did I do that? Because nobody knows you better than you. You ain't God. So, what made me do that? And then, how can I not allow myself to get back in this position to make the same mistake again? That was point number 3. Point 4 is to consider how to improve your decision from happening. How can I improve? How can I improve? So once I evaluated, how can I improve myself? What plans of action that I'm going to take in place or put in place? Do it mean that I'm not going to move fast? I'm not going to make that quick decision. Maybe I just need to pray a little bit more. Maybe I need to think about it. Maybe I need to write it down. Like I said, slow and steady. Maybe before I just constantly keep making these quick decisions because it look good, feel good. I think it's right without reevaluating it. So that's what I mean is consider how you can improve yourself as a person. Okay. And then number 5 is try using different decision making processes, right? And then I start thinking, what would that be? What is that? What is that trying to make decision processing? Decision making can be, is there someone else that been through this? Or is there someone that is mature that I feel confident that I can talk to them and they can provide me some wisdom, some knowledge, some understanding? Is it my mom? Is it my godmother? Is it my pastor? Is it someone that a good friend, someone that I know that makes good decisions, someone that I can toss the idea to and I can cast my thoughts to, and then they can come back because I know that they're going to give me their feedback, and then I could begin to start having some better decision making skills, right? Maybe it's your husband, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's someone that's dear to you that you highly respect, that you know that they can help you make some good decisions. So those are the 5 principles or the 5 pointers that you can use to help you identify when you make a bad decision. How can you improve? What can you do about it? Okay. Now, also, is another good decision making skills is this. It is Proverbs 3 and 5. Is that you need to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all of your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. Is how can you make those wise choices in life, make those good decisions? By trusting in the Lord with all your heart and leaning not to your own understanding, which is your flesh, your thoughts, what you want, your emotions. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways submit to Him through prayer. Talk to Him, meditate, think about it. Submit your way to Him, and then say, He will make your way straight. He will make your way straight. When we talk about that narrow gate, straight is the way, narrow is the way, is He will make your way straight. And then we know that if you follow God's principle and you follow what He say do, then you already know that you're going to make a wise decision. And guess what? The end is going to be full of blessings and peace and joy. Make sure you tag, share, subscribe to my page. Thank you for your support, and God bless you.